Hey guys, what's up? Minnesota weather is turning really fast. Today is our last nice day of 50-ish degree weather, and it's going to turn today at about 3 o'clock and start raining, and then we're going to be stuck in our wintry mix for the unforeseen future. So what I've been tackling is all of my vehicles that I've brought up from Tennessee. I'm not 100% sure what the cooling systems are like. So I've been draining all of the cooling systems on all of my trucks, and I'm going to be replacing all of the coolant to make sure that they can sit all winter long, that I don't have any issues with cracking blocks because I have the wrong mixture of coolant or antifreeze to water. This Silverado, or Sierra I should say, actually is having a small little issue as well. It only heats up to about 140, 150 degrees. So down there is our thermostat. We are going to be replacing a thermostat and getting this thing back up to par. Also, one thing, as I put my trucks away, I'm going to be using some dryer sheets inside the cabs to keep all the mice out. That's a quick and easy trick to do. So let's get at this one right down there. Thermostat's going to come out. I do have the coolant draining already down here into the catch, so I don't drop any on the ground, or as little as possible. So let's get a thermostat put in this truck and get this thing filled back up and back inside before the weather hits. The thermostat's buried in this housing down here, so we're just going to get the housing out of the way and the thermostat in. And here's the reason why this truck isn't heating up. So this truck I actually built. It's got a little healthy 5.3 in it. The truck has 350,000 miles on it. And I built this little 5.3 to replace it, but it looks like I never even put a thermostat in here. So it should be as simple as putting a thermostat in it, and we should be good to go. So of course, nothing can go easy. There's actually two different styles of thermostat housings. This style actually has a thermostat that goes in this direction, and you turn it and click it into two tabs. This one's actually broke off and missing. But I do have another LS in the shop for kind of parts that I will be working on eventually. This is the other style of housing, and the thermostat literally just drops in like such, and then you just put it all back together. So since I have that thermostat right there, I'm going to just switch over and use this housing because I don't want to go back to the parts store, and then we'll just slap that down there and we should be back in business. I got to clean up this flange a little bit, make sure there's no corrosion on there, and we'll get this put back together. And of course, nothing is ever as easy as it seems. This is my LQ9. This is what I stole the housing off of. They are running a felt gasket around the water pump side, well, between the two pieces. And I don't have that, so luckily I carry a bunch of gasket material in my toolbox. So I'm just gonna go ahead and make this gasket quick and get it all put back together. And this is the gasket material. You guys can pick up stuff like this from Napa or O'Reilly's or parts stores. You can see I've used it a couple times to make some other random gaskets. So again, it's just a felt gasket. I think it's felt. This might be like a cardboard mixture or some goofy stuff. So we're just gonna set that on there, trace it out, and cut a gasket out quick. Now there's kind of an art to making gaskets. We obviously have these two holes we have to worry about. But we also have to do a big cutout for the center of this. And an easy way to do that is to kind of line this up. I'm going to use this curve kind of as a starting point. And then if you pick the whole thing up and line it up, what you can do is kind of just push on the edges here. It's kind of hard to see, but and leave an impression on the gasket material. You might have to do it a bunch of times. and it will tell you kind of where you need to cut on the other side. So we're gonna do the big center one, so I know my opening's right, and then we'll come around and do the 2 small bolt holes, and then I'll cut the whole thing to shape. You do it without having the gasket move, or the gasket material move. That's the trick here. So it's kind of hard to see, but you guys can kind of see the circle that I need to cut out. There you go, you can see it there. So I'll cut that circle out of the center first, and then we'll move forward. There's the center. Now we'll do the 2 holes for the bolts. And the last thing, we'll trace it out for the shape. So there's the gasket, and if you guys want to go out and buy a just gasket kit, comes with a bunch of different kinds and styles of material. There's the number. They do come in quite handy when you don't have a gasket, if you got to make something really quick. And in my case, I'm too cheap to go back to the store, so we're just gonna use this because it worked out just fine. Now, of course, one thing to note, that little gasket that's on the thermostat does stick up from the housing and is supposed to seal this all, but for some reason, both of these water pump setups had another gasket, so I'm just gonna run both gaskets, kind of maybe some security or guarantee here that it won't leak. So now we'll just reverse the process, bolt this all in, and then I'll show you guys how I fill LS cooling systems. Okay, so housing's in it. Now let's go over how I fill LS cooling systems so I can get all the air out of it the first time around. I've done it this way a bunch of times. I actually had a really good friend of mine, Jimmy, show me this trick, and it's worked every single time. Take the upper radiator hose off. Pick this hose up in the air so your angle is pretty extreme and the coolant can flow through your hose, and then just dump your coolant in the upper radiator hose until it comes out of the radiator. That way you're forcing all the air out. It's filling it up from the engine side and through the radiator. It takes a little bit of time to burp it out, but as soon as you get coolant coming out of there, you're pretty much guaranteed that you don't have air in your system. And now the truck's all back together, so what I'm gonna go do is go inside, start it up. We're gonna leave the cap off, even though the way that I fill the cooling system through that upper hose, I usually don't have any air bubbles in here. I'm not gonna take the chance. Last thing I wanna do is have this thing overheat. So we'll go start it up and we'll let it kind of idle here for 10 minutes or so, maybe 20, get it up to temp and make sure all the air comes out of that guy, if there is any. And we should be all set and ready to hit the road. One other thing, guys, too, when you do this, jump in your truck, turn your heater all the way to max, defrost. That way we're gonna get everything to go through our heater core. That'll just kind of help everything here. So the truck is up to temperature. I do have heat, thank goodness. That was one thing I was fighting. Got a couple bubbles to come out of the overflow. Both of my heater core hoses are warm. I know the thermostat has opened, so hopefully this helps, guys. If you run into an issue like I did with the fact that you got a couple different thermostat housing variations in the years here, but like, subscribe, let me know if you got any comments. See you guys next time.